Welcome to another episode of the series How to Rank for Everything and Anything, a video series in which I will show you one case study a day, how to rank for any keyword in any niche in any city. So on today's video, you are going to learn one, how to analyze the search engine results pages in a local niche so you can see exactly which are the competitors that you need to pay attention to, how to distinguish between the strategies to follow to rank on the map pack as well as on the organic results. What kind of content should you be publishing on your website or your clients' websites if you are serving immigration lawyers, and how many links is going to take you to rank in the organic results. Of course, maps are different. Links matter less for maps, but they matter a ton in the organic rankings. And on top of that, we will also learn what other factors might be influencing the current rankings, the current businesses that are out there, that if you wanted to outrank, you would need to outdo them in multiple different verticals. There is two videos that I would like you to watch if this is the first video that you watch in this series. They will be both linked in the description box below. One is a 40-minute masterclass that covers everything that you should know about SEO, both traditional search and AI power search in 2025. And the other one, which I will link here because it's a foundational piece, is how to calculate how many backlinks to rank number one. We have already done the calculation. These here are the competitors that we're going to be focusing our research on today. This is by no means a qualitative analysis of these websites. I will look at the websites so that you can see what to look for in a winning competitor in order to craft a winning strategy, so that you can have a very large degree of confidence that you will indeed get results from SEO before you spend a single dollar. The process on how to get this data you will learn on the video that is linked up here. Last, today's case is quite interesting. I'm going to go very deep in areas that I haven't gone so deep in videos like this in this series. There is a full-blown playlist on my YouTube channel that you can watch, and I'm going to skip some of the foundational part at the beginning because it's fundamentally the same in every video, and today I'm going to go way deeper into the specifics of this niche. That's it. Let us go and let's see how we would rank client in this niche in the same way that we've ranked all of these clients before, all these captures from previous results from previous clients that my editor will put on the screen. If you want to get results like this in this niche, this is what you should do. Let's go. So our first stop, as always, is going to be to look at the search engine results page for our main keyword, immigration lawyer Chicago. I will be analyzing a total of 10 keywords. This main one that defines the niche, as well as a few surrounding ones, both in English and Spanish, which is a unique thing. It's the first time that I do this in this video series, but I will be doing more because there's lots of niches that have bilingual, even trilingual searches, even within the US. And what we see here is the very first result is the map pack. I do not see any ads, and I've analyzed these competitors, and as far as the external tools tell me, they're not running ads for this exact keyword. So we have Aparicio Immigration Law, Zvedlov, and Minsky, McCormick, and Halligan. They are the top three on the map pack. Minsky, McCormick, and Halligan, according to the Google Business Profile, have been 50 plus years in business. That will give them an insane amount of strength in the map pack if the GMB is also obviously not 50 years old, because there was no GMBs back then. But if the GMB is really old, they will have a tremendous advantage on the map pack. Svetlov, 15 plus years in business, Aparicio, 10 years plus. All three of them have very high rankings, 4.7 to 4.9 stars, and hundreds of reviews. These are some of the things that matter the most for the map pack, which is our organic result number one. Organic result number two is going to be FAQs. People also ask, fundamentally. You can massively optimize for these by doing semantic entity optimization through AI. You can look at the content that is ranking here, make sure that you are semantically answering all these questions within your content, whether it's in the FAQs or all throughout the content. And you can have AI greatly aid you into how exactly this should be written. This is going to be a result number two. As you can see, the more I click, the more results I get. And then finally, we have our first business organic result, which is going to be position number three. So in some niches, the map pack will take a lot of space, and then you have this. So it's hyper important then, if you are going to compete on the organic, to really be number one or number two, because of course, yes, I did click in the people also ask, so I'm going to refresh the page. And interestingly here, when I refresh, then we have Khan, Nair, and Associates appear here, which they weren't appear before. I guess Google is giving me slightly different results, right? But it's still, we still see Borja's Law Group, Aparicio, and Minsky, McCormick, and Halligan on the top organic results. What I wanted to say earlier is that because this takes so much space and there's so much scrolling, most people will likely just click on this and, you know, click on multiple of them and load them in different tabs and just go and scan through them one by one. Most people won't get past this far, right? In many other results, you will see that these people also ask is after result number 1 or 2, which means result number 3 is really buried down, and the top results will rank like that. The previous case study that I did yesterday, I think, had that exact case. Amazing. So let us analyze what Ahrefs is saying, and then we're going to go into our proprietary analysis of the backlink profile to find out exactly what you have to do to win here. So as you come to Ahrefs, you will see this one. This is the first competitor. And as you can see here, throughout this update that happened in June and after, they've been moving and shaking. Now, when we add here Aparicio, immigration law, actually they weren't ranking as well. And just here in December last year, they had a big jump and they've been consistently climbing up with a bit of competition against Minsky, McCormick, and Halligan. And then Borja's Law Group, which we also saw there, massive jump recently, and they're also competing. AHL Green Law, very stable competitor. Some ups and downs. He lost a couple positions, recovering back. So the best competitor really to analyze here is going to be this one. Why? They've been at the top for the longest time. They've definitely done something right, but we cannot lose sight in some of these other competitors, such as Mila Legal as well, that have been moving up. Mila Legal has also been at the top for a long time. That's the brown chart here, but they seem to be struggling at the moment. They've done something is happening here where they go from position 5, which remember is the third organic result really, to 11, right? Up and down. So as you can see here, when we did this analysis, they were actually on the top 3. This is why we chose them, but there's a bit of volatility there. So it's also going to be interesting to see what happens here. So when you look at this, you will see, oh, this is a truckload of backlinks and referring domains. And when Ahrefs tells you that you need to get 84, it's giving you an average of what these numbers are saying, which is a little bit pointless, because obviously this with 19 links at the bottom of the page is nowhere nearly as interesting as these results here, specifically this result here that's been there for the longest time. But do we need 189 domains pointing to our homepage? This is not the domains at the full domain level that we'll find here. This is at the homepage. Do we need that many, or can we build exactly just the ones that got them there and ignore all the noise, which is what I suggest you to do so you don't burn through your budget? So let us find out. Minsky, McCormick, and Halligan have a DR36. This is the analysis of the authority buckets of their backlink profile. And these have already been analyzed for TER. If it's the first time that you hear TER, by all accounts, go and watch my previous videos. I will save everyone the next 10 minutes explaining things that I've already explained. But basically, trusted links have been split by the authority in these buckets, and now we're going to score them by the topical relevance, right? If the website that links to them is relevant, that's going to get 1 point. And then if the page that links to them is also relevant, the link will get 2 points. And a fully irrelevant backlink that still comes from a good trusted website, we are still going to score it. Irrelevant backlinks sometimes are fantastic, and that's only going to get 0.5 points, which basically, if you can do the math, that means that a fully relevant link is 4 times as powerful as a relevant link. Fantastic. So our fictitious brand here, Meyerhans Immigration Law, that aims to serve City of Chicago, needs to beat this, and this. But of course, we will not base our strategy on what Aparicio Immigration Law is doing in terms of the backlink profile, because they have almost nothing. So if we just look at the average, which is this, and we do that, we will get somewhere, we'll start ranking, we will get cases, things will be better, but it won't get us to the top where all the traffic and all the leads will actually happen. For that, we need to clone one-to-one what Minsky, McCormick, and Halligan is doing. Amazing. In terms of the velocity, actually very good news in the last 30, 60, and 90 days. 1 link, 0 links, 1 link. If we go anything faster than 1 link per month, which we'll really have to do, we should be okay. When it comes to the tier 2 links, which basically are the links that point to the backlinks that then ultimately point to these competitors, we find that these competitors here, which we are modeling most everything about, they do have a very solid amount of their tier 1 links with a lot of tier 2 support, which will make the pages pointing at them stronger and ultimately better backlinks. So I'm going to ignore the averages again. I am not going to follow the averages in the same way that I won't follow the averages in the tier 1, and I'm going to model everything one-to-one against that particular competitor. So when we now look at immigration lawyer Chicago, a keyword with a massive amount of search volume that we cannot rank and go from 0 to rank to this keyword right away, we need to start ranking for other longer tail keywords, start building the trust and going through the different stages of trust with Google. But as we point to this keyword as the final penultimate goal of our SEO campaign, we need to look at who's ranking now. This is who was ranking just a couple of days ago when we pulled the data. This is volatile, but this is a constant. In niches like this, you have to just look at the constant and ignore everyone else. And our constant competitor here has 7 points on the DR30, 7 points on the DR40s, 9 and 28 on the subsequent ones, which means that is exactly what we have to do when it comes to link building to our homepage. This is URL, exact URL against exact URL. Now, a very good thing that we have a slight advantage in this particular case is that we do have the words immigration law in our domain name, which is going to help us tremendously here in general terms, because every keyword that includes the words immigration lawyer in a way will be accounted kind of like a branded query, which will help us. I will enter into the analysis of the total amount of branded queries for these competitors in just a second. But basically, this is the amount of backlinks that you need to point to your homepage. What anchor text should we use? Well, quite clearly, we need to go very aggressive with branded anchor text, but we can do a little bit of partial match. Now, all these URLs and miscellaneous, we will get those for free by just doing citations. You have to get citations for anything local. You have to make sure that your name, address, phone is consistent. I'll do other videos on how to rank on the map, and citations matter even more for the map, but they also matter at the general foundational level for your brand in any of the local queries. So don't waste your money doing your digital PR or guest post and use the URL on the anchor text when you should be building your brand equity, which is also going to help you with brand signals, which are massive in the current state of the algorithm. This is one of the biggest changes since March last year, is brand signals. And do that. And then for these 5 partial match, use your DR60s, okay? Don't do your partial match with your DR30s. Why? We're gonna throw tier 2 links to the vast majority of our DR60s later, and we wanna increase positive signals in a stack. Now, however, for the Spanish version of the exact same keyword, abogados de inmigración en Chicago, we've got here also a sizable amount of search volume that is going to be easier for us to rank in so many different ways. Why? We have La Liga Defensora, which will have an advantage because it looks like the entire website is in Spanish, at least the domain name is in Spanish. Then consumer law, a bit different, and then Mila Legal again. Remember, we saw Mila Legal having big swings ups and down, so it's potentially right now that the SEO has some sort of issue. Obviously, they should fix it in the future. So if you were watching this in a year from now and you want to rank for this exact query, the reality might be different, but we can always run a report exactly like this for your brand, for your keywords, and show you with a bespoke plan what you should do to rank for any niche. And that will only cost you $49 and 1 day of wait. And then in 30 minutes, we'll tell you everything you have to do to rank for your niche. But with that little pitch out of the way, what should we do? La Liga Defensora has no backlinks. Consumer law has a ton, and Mila Legal has no backlinks. This is not a comparable competitor, nor is this one. This one is. Mila Legal is a comparable competitor. They have a DR of 10. We are aiming to get a DR of 36 plus, if you remember, because we're basing it on the other competitor with a very long name. So what I'm going to recommend you here is for the Spanish version of the domain, which is basically in the /ES. That is the page that should be targeting this. You can create a page that looks like this, Abogados de Inmigración Chicago. Okay, you can create it like this, but realistically, your Spanish homepage is the one that should hit this. And then for that one, with 2 DR60 plus, we are covered. We will ram this with tier 2s for sure. And again, we should only go with branded. We could actually then throw one partial match here and just say abogados de inmigración. Don't do exact match abogados de inmigración in Chicago, because no one has that. An exact match anchor text right now is the quickest way to tank your rankings and never get out of this very boring place. Amazing. What are we going to do for naturalization attorney? Well, very same deal. Okay, not comparable. It's a homepage. New competitor that we haven't seen before, that, good news for us, has a lower DR than we're aiming for, because this is what we're aiming for. And this is an inner page. This is an inner page. Amazing. They do have the keyword here, immigration law naturalization. We have it here. Okay, we should be covered. The only thing that we don't have is Chicago in the URL, which we could just do naturalization-Chicago if you want to be slightly over optimized. But the fundamental result is no backlinks, no backlinks. Amazing news. Let's go and build 2 DR60s. Now, in very many of my previous videos, in a situation like this, you will see me recommend 1 backlink. I will not recommend you 1 backlink here because of the competitive nature of this business. We're gonna have to outdo this brand who has a super long history with Google and one of the top 3 map pack elements. We can't get those signals right away. So we have to outdo them in the other parts where we have a larger degree of control and also a quicker way to influence that. Plus, the moment we start passing someone who has been #1 for a very long time, I guarantee you they will contact some competent SEO agency, perhaps one that does specifically in building for this industry. I wonder who could potentially, do that. Someone who has a lot of experience doing law backlinks. I don't know who could possibly do that. And we'll ask them, hey, help me beat whoever just took my position. So we need to get a bit of a moat here, basically. Okay, if we want to outrank them, we need to do a bit of a moat. Do 1 branded anchor text, 1 partial. Basically, you go for Meyerhans naturalization attorneys. That's how you do it. You do brand name plus keyword on both. That's a hybrid anchor text. What's going on here with our work visas? Very similar case. Homepage ranking. Let's ignore that. Panteva with an inner page, and lawyersimmigration.com, which is the first time that we see, but they have a okay beatable DR. We need to ignore this because this is not what we're trying to do, right? You see, big difference there. And just replicate this, which means we're gonna do 1 single backlink. Why 1, Alejandro? Well, sometimes I like to contradict myself. No, the reason we're doing 1 is because I've never seen this competitor before, and it's a way weaker competitor. So potentially with just 1, if we do bring our target DR to 36, our advantage at the domain level will be so big that we should be able to outrank the 1 competitor that does look like us. Now, this will most likely get us only to position #2. Why? It might be a little bit hard to outrank the 1 competitor that's heavily entrenched there. Once you get here, you can figure out later if you want to spend more money, which is probably going to be a lot of money, trying to power up this page to outrank with an inner page, the homepage of the single best established competitor. You need to be careful there, right? It's very easy to waste money on keywords that have less chances for you to win. What are we going to do with deportation defense attorney Chicago? Well, the exact same thing as before, okay? Our constant followed by 2 other competitors that are way weaker, that have virtually no backlinks. 1 backlink, we can beat that. They have nothing. Amazing. Let's do 2. Let's do both partial match. Abogados de Deportación Chicago, the exact same keyword. Now we have the Spanish inner page. We have again La Liga Defensora, Sverdlov law, and consumer law. So as you can see here, these 2 do very well for anything that's in Spanish. So perhaps we should do a separate analysis of consumer law for all keywords in Spanish, but as this first stage 1 campaign analysis, given that La Liga Defensora has no backlinks at the inner page level, they probably have a massive boost because of the language, and that consumer law is an inner page, therefore not comparable. And then we have Sverdlov with 0 backlinks. Let's do 0 plus 2, and brand you need to ignore because this is a brand because of these guys. You need to go for partial match. You need to be able to contextualize the data after you get it, which is something that a lot of people don't know how to do, but I teach you in this video here. You need to be able to contextualize it, and that's the other part where most people fail at the strategy level. In 2025 and beyond, if you don't get your strategy right from the beginning, you can no longer just publish a bunch of content and get a bunch of backlinks to your homepage and hope that things will work. It's just way too expensive. AI overviews have basically taken a lot of the juice out of informational queries. So the battle that's worth fighting in order to get a lot of leads is going to be on this bottom of the funnel keywords. And then for the bottom of the funnel, you need to know exactly what you're doing to rank for those, as you've always had really for any money keywords. Citizenship, lawyer, Chicago. Now, we think we should be ranking with our inner page naturalization. It's basically, as far as I know, if someone has multiple passports, that's exactly what it means. But potentially, we need to optimize the on page of our homepage to rank for this, because what I see here is basically the same guys as before. So maybe if we try to rank with this keyword, we need 0, because if you remember, we already planned for some backlinks to this inner page because of a different keyword, naturalization. And if it's the homepage that should rank, then we already building out of links to the homepage. So this is what I call let's do everything else and wait type of keyword, where I'm going to put it in a tracker. I'm going to see how do I do from nowhere to somewhere, and see which one of my 2 pages, whether it's the homepage or my naturalization page, that actually starts to rank. Sometimes you have to let Google do its thing, and you will have a lot of answers that way. For family immigration lawyer, I think we should be ranking with our homepage in the exact same way that these guys here do, although AHL Green Law is ranking with an inner page. I am not going to repeat myself in terms of my planning and says, okay, because of this keyword, I will do all these backlinks. And because of the previous keyword, I will do the same volume again and build twice as many, because that's not how it works, right? It's the same URL receiving the backlinks. We are free to ignore this. So yes, we do need the same amount of backlinks. We've already accounted for them. Okay, this is duplicate. Spouse visa lawyer. Well, what do we have here? We have our inner page for spouse visas, CRE law here, CAN and SIM visa. New competitors in the organic, but we saw some of these guys before in the maps, way weaker domain rating in general, minus these guys, which have a higher domain rating and more backlinks. So this will be a case to, 1, really analyze the on page of these 2 competitors, because they're outranking without backlinks, and 2, really analyze the backlink profile of these guys, because potentially they might have over-optimized something. They might have their own page over-optimized. It is extremely rare to see a higher DR website with a much higher UR being outranked by other local competitors, unless they have literally hundreds more brand signals and infinitely better on page. That would be the only 2 things here, and that could be also from a technical level. Maybe this takes 5 seconds to load. Maybe, I don't know. Okay, this is only a guesswork that I'm doing here without going into a full audit of this competitor, right? So there's going to be some reasons, or this competitor is about to wipe them and entrench themselves in number 1 with a massive advantage here that will take them a long time to catch up. I don't know. But I do know I want to rank this page, so I'm going to build 2 backlinks here. I'm going to go with my typical partial match here, so I'm just going to do spouse visa lawyer maybe, but I'm going to get in trouble because not even these guys have that. So what I would likely do is I will look at their exact backlink profile and repeat the same anchor text they've done, right? And then last, Chicago asylum lawyer. What do we have here? Our homepage. Because of this homepage, Kirilo and Aparicio. So because of these 2 guys that we saw earlier, we're going to do the same. What are we going to do in? Nothing. This is what we would do if this was an internal page, which maybe that's what we have to create. Okay, in principle, it's going to be the home page. You can ignore this. So amazing. Summary of the total backlinks that we need. If you remember from Ahrefs says we need 84. In reality though, we're gonna need 51 pointing to our homepage, plus an additional 13 pointing to these inner pages that will support everything topically. We'll start ranking earlier. We'll start feeding Google user experience signals. We'll start to get us some leads in some cases to start reinvesting into SEO. And in total, it's going to be 64 backlinks, and we need to get these 36 DR points. You will need, on top of this, of course, some citations and some pillow backlinks, okay? Sales volume, fantastic. Traffic potential, fantastic. At a 10% conversion rate into any of these into leads, that's 800 backlinks, 800 leads. If any of them are legit, right, you have about 80 really ready to close. If you get 80 new cases per month from organic, you will be fine. Now, that's all fine and dandy. What else do we need to do to rank in this niche? Well, we're gonna have to look at the performance of these websites and contextualize that also. As you can see here, it looks like the top competitor had a big drop in the December update. But if we put this into context, what we can see here is that what they lost massively is informational queries. This is most likely driven by AI overviews, eating the cake of almost everyone. When we remove these and we look at the commercial and transactional keywords, they've dropped a bit for the transactional keywords, but they're doing really, really well for the commercial keywords. So I don't think this matters, but what we do know, just by looking at that and the amount of keywords that they rank for in comparison with Aparicio and Mila Legal, is that I guarantee you, they have tons and tons more content than anyone else. Otherwise, these other two competitors would rank for more stuff. So I'm going to look into the top pages real quick here, and there you go. They have 463 pages, while Aparicio has only 55. And Mila Legal has only 44. So they have 10 times as much content as the next competitors. That might be one very good reason that they're so high in search, because they've really covered the topical map and they've really leveraged all those pieces of content to link back to the core services and to their homepage and massively increase the topical relevance for those pages. So how can you bridge this gap? Very simple. You can just download a list of everything that they've done and just work in creating basically the same content. You could overcomplicate it, but this is one really good way to do so. However, I also have a different video in my YouTube channel that I will link here and in the description box below, where you can see me live in under 20 minutes use ChatGPT to develop a topical map for a business exactly on immigration law, just for Canada, slightly different stuff, more for like naturalization, I believe. And you can use that process to build your topical map, and then you can use any combination of AI plus your own subject matter expertise to write content for this niche and win, because some of the top competitors have a very weak content strategy, while these guys here have a very strong one. And the gap is so big that there is a massive wedge. And the gap between them is so big that you definitely fit right there, and then you can continue to fight for the top position. Last, we're gonna do a quick check for the amount of branded signals in all three of them. And as you remember, I'm gonna go here. This is Borjas, and we had Mila and Associates. This Mila and Associates, that's the one that we look at. And we need to get the names, Minsky McCormick, and filter keyword as always. So we enter the names, and as we check for the last names of the partners, we see they have hundreds and hundreds of searches every month. This is gonna massively increase their branded signals, alongside with the other signals that they get, of course, from the map. Let's check for Aparicio. We're taking here for Aparicio and Mila, and Mila also has not as many branded searches here. This is good news for us if we want to compete. And then a lot more queries related here, but not as many. So as you can see here, there's a massive gap between top competitors and the next one in the organic results. So now you know exactly how many pages of content you need to publish to get to position 2, and then how much more you're gonna have to publish to get to number 1. If you follow the video that I linked up there again, you will know how to generate that list of content ideas. You know you're gonna have to boost your branded signals, which you can do so in virtue of doing branded anchor text in the new backlinks that you will acquire by doing some digital PR, whether Haro or story-driven, more like famous digital PR that everyone is doing right now. You do know that for those inner pages, you will have to rely on quality guest posts to get those links to start ranking for the things that you can to move the brand up as you also build the equity on the homepage for the really big term that you cannot rank right away. And last, if you combine all of this, and I sincerely suggest you to run some Google ads, put some budget here. It's going to be amazing to get some quick data on what keywords convert best, what keywords get you the best cases. And not just that, it will tell Google that you're a legitimate brand trying to really do fair competition when it comes to organic search marketing. So with all of that combined, I'm hoping that this video was helpful and it was insightful and that you learned something new. And of course, if you don't feel like doing all of this process yourself, you can always hire us to do that. You can go to getmelinks.com/link-report and grab yourself a copy of the link report. We will do a bespoke link building plan for you and your business so that you can take over in your niche. And of course, we won't just do the plan. We will be more than happy to actually execute on that strategy, any combination between digital PR, Haro, guest posts, in order to get you the highest quality links possible to rank in this highly competitive yet highly lucrative space. So thank you very much for watching. This was Alejandro Meyerhans, and I will see you tomorrow for another niche and another case study.